Sometimes you strike special problems with cameras when you're repairing them. This is one of those cases. This is a Retina Ia, which I'm stripping down to service. But the Retina Ia, some of them at least, they don't have leather coverings, they have leatherette. Well, that leatherette is very fragile. And the chance of me getting the leatherette off the base of the camera to expose the screws so I could remove the struts and so forth for cleaning, the chances of achieving that are very, very slim. In fact, they're pretty much non-existent. This stuff is nice when it's stuck to the cameras, but by the time you try getting it off, and it goes very badly indeed. So I want to get the door off. I want to get the front door off because then it gives me better access to the struts for cleaning the struts and making sure that the shutter release components and stuff move freely. So how am I going to do it? If you don't take the leatherette off the base of the camera, you can't get to the hinge screw, obviously. Well, as it turns out, you can wriggle the doors in just by removing the top screw if you go about it in the right way. So first I'll partly collapse the front of the camera, remove the top hinge screw, and I can manipulate the door forward out of the opening, lift it up off the bottom hinge screw, and so I've got my door off without having to go to the trouble of let's take that little packing washer out. So I didn't need to take out the bottom screw, so I didn't need to remove the leatherette, so I haven't made a mess of it. This, of course, is not ideal, but by having this off, it allows me to get access to here for cleaning purposes, making sure these components are clean, and cleaning them with solvent as required, and lubricating them again. So let me lift this door off here now. And just lift that over that groove. This one's a bit tougher than usual, I'm not sure why it should be. Usually they want to fall off for me. That'll do. Yeah, that's it. That's my door off and out of the way. And now I've got access to the camera. I'm going to remove the focus mount, of course, for cleaning anyway, but the bellows would fall back into the body and I've got access to cleaning the struts. So here you can see I've got the focus mount off, the bellows just drop back into the body, and as a result I've got good access for cleaning the struts inside and out, and for getting access to the shutter release components here and here in the body. So it's not by any means as convenient as removing the struts from the body, so you've got good access for cleaning, but you can do probably 95% of the job. It's just going to take a lot longer. The end result will be better because you won't have buggered up the leatherette from the base of the camera. This is a technique that will work with any of the earlier Retinas right up to the Retina 2A and 1As. The 3Cs and 2Cs you can't do it because the struts are the mechanisms are arranged differently, but they're less of a problem. You can usually fight the leatherette off of those cameras without too much trouble. So there you go. Now I better get back to servicing this camera. I'll swing for this video camera one day. It's always stopping when it feels like it. Right, finger on the top. Rotate this dial clockwise until you hear the ratchet drop right in. There's two ratchets going on there. You've got to make sure you've got everything going on that you need going on. Little star washer that goes on the top, and then the screw, Now you can run this down with a stiff pair of tweezers. Just be careful not to slip. That screw will mar very, very easily. Check that that's right. Check that my film advance lever works and that the frame counter advances one number with each movement. Now I'll put the right tool on there and tighten that thing up. That's very good. For the rewind end is much simpler. I took this apart because somebody had managed to get this mispositioned. Oh, this has got some muck on it. There was some muck tipped onto the top of the camera. It looked like corrosion at first. I didn't think it was going to come off, but it did come off. I don't know what this is. Something unpleasant. Let's pretend for the sake of the argument it was ice cream. Right, I've got the screw. Okay, we're in business. So, the wavy washer is the same as the wavy washer that was in the film advance. Put that into place. We've got the screw. Normally you do not need to remove this screw from the rewind knob because you don't need to take the rewind knob apart. As long as the film advance dial, film reminder dial can be rotated, there's no need to muck with that. Put that onto the rewind. Check that it all moves. And there's not an awful lot more to go on here. I'll stick that back on. I never had to really remove that because I didn't remove the leatherettes from the base of the camera. I got as far as that, had a tentative poke at the leatherette with the edge of a scalpel, decided it was not going to come off and play nicely, and went the other route. Leatherette patch for the top of the film advance. I'll just scrape the back of that to remove that old dried glue. Right, so I'll just remove any traces of grease from the top of the film advance lever. Do the same for my leatherette patch. Some adhesive. For small pieces it's better to put your adhesive onto a piece of paper and then transfer over your adhesive on a toothpick so that you can apply it exactly where you want it to go. Steer it around to the edges of the patch and generally make sure that you have even coverage and not great globs of the crap. Let's get rid of that. Bring in the camera. And fit that patch into place. It fits neatly into the recess there. It's It's not sticking up at all. And that's it. And that's this particular camera dealt to. So I've been able to get in there, clean everything, clean around the struts, make sure there was nothing bent in there, and there wasn't. Everything else has come apart. The only thing that didn't come out of this particular camera were the struts and the film advance shaft. Well, the film advance shaft in a Retina 1A and 2A, all the clever bits are all happening at the top of the shaft. You just have the shaft itself, a little cross pin at the bottom that resets the film rewind button as you advance, like that. And not an awful lot going on. So as long as the camera wasn't unusually stiff with the film advance, as long as the camera is not full of sand, there's no special reason to dig that shaft out to deal with it if it's going to cost you the leatherette. And in this case it would have certainly cost me the leatherette. And there aren't any leatherettes to be had. So there we have it. That's how you get the door off one of these cameras, by only removing one screw, leaving the other screw intact. Thanks for watching.